Well, howdy ho there, folks. How are we doing today? Hope you're all doing absolutely peachy keen, fantastic. Hopefully, you're all feeling the love of the Lord and feeling the grace of the Lord in your everyday life. I wanted to do a little bit of Overwatch, so have some Overwatch footage, and talk a little bit about the oneness of all, but specifically about how, with love, we can grow as people, and we can also find that by loving everyone intensely, we can truly transcend past suffering and transcend past difficulties. But I wanted to start with this because it is something that I often begin with, where it's a little chant from the Upanishads, and I really like it. And it goes, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness onto light, lead us from death to immortality. And then it's Om, peace, peace, peace. Or sometimes, depending on where exactly you get it, because there's a slightly different version. And one of the Upanishads, which is, O Brahma, lead us from the unreal to the real. O Brahma, lead us from darkness to light. O Brahma, lead us from death to immortality. Shanti, 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 Om. And Shanti just means peace. But it is one I really like to go back and forth to, because to me one of the most important things is understanding and coming to grips with like the way of our reality, and coming to grips with the difficulties we experience, and coming to grips with what it all really means. And I don't think that that's strictly speaking limited to just your real life. I think even just the way you interact in like a video game like Overwatch can actually say a lot, where if you're doing a lot of toxic reactions, if you're trying to be mean to people, if you're telling people they suck or things like that, you're not going from the unreal to the real. You're not going from this very petty level of things where there's some difficulty, and there's people want to be able to say how good they are, and this like petty ego stuff. It's like no, we want to transcend past that. We want to go and experience that kindness and that love that is deep within all of reality. We want to expand on that. We don't want to be rude. And the Lord is within all things, and is in fact also within when we play Overwatch. And the people you're playing with are that representation of the Divine Mother. They're the representation of Brahma. They're a representation of Jesus. They're a representation of God. We should have respect and love and understanding for one another. We should be willing to see past this illusion, this kind of overarching illusion that people are separate, and that they're good and bad and all these other things. The Lord is beyond all that, and in truth reality is beyond all that. And by embracing truth where we can, and embracing that love of one another, even when we're playing like a video game against one another, or sometimes even in war, if we can understand that even prisoners of war have the right to be treated well, have the right to be given opportunities for medical treatment, and for religious services and all these other things, and understand that we want to be representatives of that higher truth. And it also does make me think about this line from the Atharva Veda, which is, most humbly we bow to you, O Supreme Lord. At your command moves the mighty wheel of time. You are eternal and beyond eternity. God is beyond eternity. God is this truly all-encompassing thing that is, well, it's not actually a thing, but you know what I mean. It's truly all-encompassing, and it goes beyond our simple limitations and these simple things that we think about, and when we're trying to, play these games. It's not just that we're just experiencing against like a bunch of bots that we can say anything to. We're experiencing it and playing it with real people, these real representations of the divine, these real representations of human beings with feelings and things like that. Now, of course, I would say that in a lot of cases. It's not like saying something mean on like a game like Overwatch is like the end of the world. We're not saying that. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that you should do these things. And it's not just good for the other person, it's also better for you. If you're willing to treat each other with respect, and if you're willing to be kind to one another, you're going to find that things are much clearer and brighter. And in your everyday interactions, it's not just when you go to temple, it's not just when you go to the church, it's not just when you're praying, it's everyday interactions. And if someone's being annoying to you in a video game, I actually think that's a great time to practice that inner peace, breathing, and remembering that all these people are still representations of God, they're still manifestations of God, even if they act in ignorance. Like that ignorance is just this one thing that blinds us to a much deeper reality and a much greater reality that is much richer, and we should do our best to act upon that greater reality, that reality that is rich, that is giving us back so much, and we should react to these things with love in our heart. It's like it says in the Yajur Veda. I know I get kind of mumbly sometimes. The one who loves all intensely begins perceiving in all living beings a part of himself. He becomes a lover of all, a part and parcel of the universal joy. He flows with the steam of happiness and is enriched by each soul. By interacting with kindness and by interacting with that love, we can have it so that our joy is boundless. By interacting with these other people, by going through and feeling, treating each other with respect, and by also seeing that that deeper reality that is beyond what we look at on the surface, we can actually get our own joy much happier. It's not just about protecting the other person. It's not just about making the other person feel good. We're also trying to make ourselves feel better, to make ourselves live in happiness, and make sure that we get to experience a great deal of that pleasure that can go through every moment. Like, part of enlightenment is being able to see that reality in every moment. Part of that enlightenment is being able to see love and purification and understanding in every moment, and being able to always come back to those moments, to come back to the present moment, and to breathe and to feel that love, and to understand that all these things are also passing, that like our negative feelings, if someone annoys us or something like that, it's passing. And it's actually very interesting. I was looking for a bunch of different quotes from like the Yajurveda and like some other stuff, and I found this website where they like had like a list of them, and it's actually really cool because it's like kind of like was my line of thinking. I'm like, oh, that matches up. Thanks, God. Thanks for making that easy. But there is this other thing from the Vatara Upanishad, Shiv Tash Vatara. Shevtosh Vatara. There we go. I did it. I believed in me. Which is actually one I haven't read, so it was cool to see this quote. All is change in the world of the senses, but changes the supreme Lord of love. Meditate on him, be absorbed by him, wake up from this dream of separateness. It's kind of crazy to think about, but like, we have these everyday interactions where we get to see the deeper meaning of life, or we get to see the deeper meaning of like these religious texts that they teach us. We also get to see like this deeper meaning of reality, and it is present and it's there, and we can see it, and we can really experience it and feel it if we're willing to understand these things. Understand that any negative emotions you have can pass, and any positive can pass as well, and that you can be a representation of bliss and understanding. You can be that goodness in a game. You can, even if it's just a game, or you can, interact with people on your day, in your like your daily life. Like, if you've had a bad day, or if you're having a day where you're not having as, a nice time as you want, and someone calls you on the phone, you can pick up that phone, you can really lay into them, and you're like, what do you want, blah, 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 go to hell, blah, whatever. You can do that. But that's not the best for you. The much better thing is to take a couple of deep breaths and to be as friendly as you possibly can with that person. To try and make sure that you understand them and understand that everyone goes through these things. Everyone, even the people who react rudely to you and do mean things, they have reasons for doing it. They might not be good reasons. But, sometimes people have really rough days. Sometimes people have a lot of difficulty in their life and their experiences. Sometimes it's as simple as, someone messed up their order at like a fast food joint or something like that. And you might say, well, that doesn't give them the right to be rude to me. And, it doesn't. It doesn't give them that right. But you have to understand that people are, creatures of habit, and they are these creatures of function. And like sometimes they'll let little things really eat at them and really dig at them. But you should always come back and always remember that no matter what's going on, whether you're playing a game, whether you're at work, whether, you're dealing with someone who's difficult, there's this reason that all these different things happen. People react to things, they react to stimuli in their life, and sometimes they react in a negative way. But you can choose. You can try to stop yourself. Anytime you start to see that you're like really getting very negative, you can try to stop yourself. Remember, pay attention to what you're thinking. Pay attention to what thoughts you let dwell in your head. Pay attention to when you get when you're nourishing, thoughts that you shouldn't be nourishing. Pay attention to when you're nourishing, negativity, when you're like letting yourself get really riled up about something. Pay attention to when, you're being more positive, and when are you letting that positivity flow? When are you letting it, kind of come out and really brighten up someone's day, or brighten up even your own day? When are you taking moments to enjoy the simple little pleasures? When are you taking moments to remind yourself that everything is good, and that, there's still this love of God within us, and that we don't have to go through and do bad or difficult things. We don't have to, reinforce that negativity. We don't have to go through and say things that we might regret later. We can think about it and think, okay, what's the most positive way I can interact with the situation? And sometimes you're going to have a difficult time with that. Sometimes it's going to be difficult because you're going to be presented with something that's very negative, and you're going to be like, what do I do here? What do I do here to progress forward and to bring that love that I want to bring, back? How do I do that? But by remembering that every moment will pass, and remembering that you have the opportunity to behave well and to behave with love in your heart, and to spread that love, and to always go back and remember that little phrase from the Yajurveda: the one who loves all intensely begins perceiving all living beings as part of himself. He becomes a lover of all, a part and parcel of the universal joy. He flows with the stream of happiness, and is enriched by each soul. Be enriched by each soul. Try to find yourself enriched by each soul. Find that you're willing to go through difficult times, and find that you're willing to be that brightness, and you're willing to be that moment of joy, and you're willing to be this thing that raises people's spirits rather than, puts them down. Be that. Be a stone catcher, not a stone thrower. I think that's always worth remembering. Try not to judge other people. Try to live in joy, and try to bring that joy back around, so that people can always have so you can be of that light of joy, and that you can interact and have that light of joy within yourself as well. Not what I mean, Jimmy Dean? Okie dokie. That's all I really wanted to talk about for right now. And I hope that you all enjoyed this short little video, and me trying to be positive and all that good stuff. And I hope that you know that I love you, and God loves you, and bye-bye, I love you, bye. Have a great one. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Also play Overwatch. Bye.